wondering why I said it goes up to around...
So if it goes up to 1 to 200, yeah, how is my -7? Yo guys, what's up this video? I really can't. Back to game theory. Among Us, your 900 IQ means nothing, alright? Toast, I see you. You think you're smart? Corpse, you think you're smart as well? Nah, your IQ means jack crap to me, alright? I'm about to do this thing, whatever he's about to say in this video, and I'm about to smack all you guys, because I definitely play with them every single day. But, without further ado, let's get into the video, alright? 3, 2, 1, let's get it. Oh shit, I see
Alright, tell me what happened here.
It all happened so fast. One minute I was standing with Pink and Electrical, just the two of us, all alone. I turned around to fix some wires, and when I turned back around, the body was sitting right there.
Just a
Green,
little
what you
sus.
see?
Look, I just saw Red and Pink go into Electrical together, and that's it. No one else came in or out.
So our possible list of killers is you, Red.
It wasn't me. You've got to believe me. I didn't see what
I
happened.
think I've heard enough. Green, you can go. Wait for me at security.
It wasn't me, I swear. I didn't kill Pink. I didn't.
Shh, not so loud.
Okay, yes.
I know you didn't kill Pink. I know you're
He
innocent,
knows that
Red,
Green is
but I had to
lying.
talk to you alone without Green hearing.
Why?
So I could do this.
Okay, that was a dirty betrayal.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game
Yeah.
Theory, the show that aims to make you a big-brained gamer. And as any big-brained
it looks
gamer should
nasty.
know, our new line of theory wear is available right now for the holidays. Well, all of it
I'm no dumb,
except
I'm
for
sorry.
this red vegan leather jacket that I built from the
$95.
ground up, stitch by stitch. I've been
Good for
looking for a
his-
way to
it's
produce
the one he wears
jackets
all
like
the
this
time.
one since 2016.
Look at him.
And so to finally see it made was so exciting this year. But then to see you guys buy this thing like hotcakes, see it sell
course.
out in
I mean,
less
who
than
wouldn't buy
48
it?
hours
Me,
was
'cause I would never
incredible.
rock it.
So
I would
if
never
you
rock that 'cause I
are
can't.
interested in getting your hands on one of these red vegan leather jackets, we're restocking it via pre-order right now. Meaning that every theorist out there who wants this one-of-a-kind red jacket can get it, but you're gonna have to make sure that you place
Pre-order
your
right now.
order ASAP to reserve yours today, because we're placing that reorder real soon before the holidays. Links to it all are right below this video. It would be a very high IQ move for you to click.
Good thing I'm
Speaking of
retired.
big brain moves, in the past year,
Smash
no game
Bros,
has become more
Fortnite,
famous for big brain plays
League
than
Legends.
Among Us. I'm gonna cross YouTube, the IQ escalation for Among Us has been
Dude, that's 500.
unreal. And of course,
I'm
no
sorry,
one can
Jack,
compare
your
to
IQ is
Disguised
that high.
Toast, who back in August
like,
was
you know,
pulling
the
off
other Jack, not
200
Jack's
IQ
the guy.
strats, but has gradually leveled up his skills to the 5,000
5,200
range.
IQ.
That, my friends, is what we call power creep. Something that Toast, as a Hearthstone player, should know a thing or two about. Also, fun fact, did you know that the name Disguised Toast is actually a reference to a line from a Hearthstone card?
This guy's toast.
Our name is.
More you know. But for as much of a meme
mean,
as
must like that
high
game a lot
IQ
then.
plays in Among Us have become, does high IQ actually matter in the game?
Please no,
Is
'cause I'm dumb
IQ
as a
really
brick.
the thing that's going to help you win something that's all about social deduction and deception? And if it's not, then what do we need to win? That, my friends, is our big-brained question of the day. And to untangle the knot, we first need to understand what exactly IQ is measuring in the first place. IQ is short for intelligence quotient and is designed to measure human intelligence. No duh, right?
course.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But do they understand that?
Nope.
Because IQ isn't actually what a lot of people assume it is. Examples of questions that you might encounter on an IQ test are things like this. Which number should come next in the following pattern? 4, 10, 22, 46. If you recognize that each number in the
Yep.
sequence is multiplied by 2 and then added to 2, congratulations, a winner is you. The answer
Yay.
is 94.
Yay.
Here's another one. Book is to reading as fork is to, the answer
Eating.
here is eating. It's
Yeah.
a basic analogy like the type you'd see on a standardized
Okay,
test like the
that's an IQ
SATs.
test.
You use a book to read, you use a fork to eat. Now,
said
if
food to eat.
questions
I'm
like
so
these
fucking dumb.
strike you as incredibly
Sorry.
basic, almost the kind of thing that a grade schooler could do, well, it's kind of the point. For example, questions like what year was the Declaration of Independence signed, or what city is the capital of Poland, don't really test how good you are at thinking. They're mostly measures of whether you memorized a fact well enough
Yeah.
to regurgitate it. It's pure trivia. Likewise, during an IQ test, you're probably not going to get quizzed on the
Equations.
quadratic formula
I
or the
hate that
chemical
shit so much.
composition of table salt.
ICL,
IQ's
of course.
aim is to be a measure of human intelligence, not necessarily human knowledge or experience. The idea is that while people accumulate knowledge throughout their lifetime, intelligence
Something it
is innate problem solving. It's believed to be something that you just have and something that remains relatively consistent throughout your life. And research actually supports this. IQ researchers have found
people
that
are
people
born
who are
smart.
tested for IQ
No
when
wonder
they're
I'm
young
stupid.
tend to
Nah,
maintain
it's
similar
just
scores
revision.
as they get older. And studying also doesn't seem to help all that much. A 1995 study found that subjects who underwent rigorous test prep did score higher on IQ tests, but the improvement was relatively small, between 2 and 6 points. It's not a whole heck of a lot when you consider that IQ is measured on a scale that goes up to around 200. And if you're wondering why I said it goes up to around
So if it goes up to 1 to 200, yeah, how is my -7?
200 points, it's because the scale is constantly getting recalibrated.
Okay.
100 is meant to be the baseline, representing the average IQ, and 68.26% of people fall between 85 and 115.
Okay.
But what that score of 100 means has actually shifted over the years. A study comparing children's test scores in 2008 to test scores in 1942 found that modern kids were scoring an average of 14 points higher than their old school counterparts.
You old guys are
if
dumb.
you're looking for an explanation as to why, one explanation that researchers came up with was that during the 20th century, people were powering their cars with leaded gasoline. And it turns out that lead is, go figure, really toxic and causes permanent brain damage. The US didn't ban the sale of leaded fuel until 1996.
Okay.
1996, man. Wow. It got banned in the EU even later in 2000.
Oh, well,
We've
wait, more
also
dumb.
gotten better about banning things like leaded paint. So it turns out that when people aren't breathing in neurotoxins, they happen to score better on tests
Who would've
designed
thought?
to measure brain function. Who would have guessed?
Yep, who would've
Anyway,
knew
to give
that?
a few reference points for what high IQ actually means. A score of 120 indicates that someone scored higher than 90% of people, while an IQ of 125 indicates that you scored higher than 95% of people. 135 IQ puts you in the top 1%. 146 IQ puts you at the top 0.1%.
That's still like-
and someone with 200 IQ would be smarter than 99.999999997% of humanity.
Okay.
In fact, as of right now,
God
it is
damn, that
literally
brain's big.
impossible to score
Well, not as big as my
250
brain I
IQ
gave to
on the test because it's a measure of how much smarter you are compared to other people. To be precise, for all the stat nerds out there, it's based on how many standard deviations separate you are from the mean, which means that there literally aren't enough people on planet Earth to get you to a score that high. So Disguised Toast actually had it right the first time. 200 IQ. Smart play, but still within the realm of possibility.
300 IQ?
And every video title after that has just been clickbait. We're included in that category too, to be honest. True story, we actually debated whether or not we wanted to keep it accurate to true IQ scores, but we decided not to and just play along with the memes. Meanwhile, we all just need to tremble in fear considering that Alakazam the
very
Pokemon
possible.
apparently, according to the Pokedex, has an IQ of 5,000. So that's a little bit about IQ, but can having a
5,000
higher
IQ.
IQ actually make you better at video games? Yes. Or to be more precise, better at certain kinds of video games. In a
Like?
series of studies, researchers at University of York found that among both League of Legends and Dota 2 players, the higher you go in matchmaking rank, the higher the average IQ of the player becomes. The thought is that because League of Legends and Dota are, at their core, real-time strategy games involving lots of
You need more
complex
IQ
decisions
to
in
play
short
them.
time frames, having a turbo-powered brain really helps out. On the other hand, the same researchers looked at data from first-person shooter players and found different results there.
The lower the
Apparently,
IQ,
when
better.
it comes to FPS games, the biggest predictor of good performance isn't IQ, it's
Eyesight?
actually age. People who did best were younger players whose more nimble fingers and quicker reflexes put them
Facts.
at advantage.
Check this
So
out.
how does Among
Why am I
Us
so
fit
shit
into
at
all
beginning of
this?
it?
Well, the most important part of Among Us is the team meeting, where the main skill being tested is social deduction. How good you are at deceiving people as an imposter, and how good you are at
Remembering.
spotting lies as a
Remembering.
crew member.
Those
So
who remember
do the
everything.
high
I always
IQ
just forget when
players
I
really
remember.
have the
What did I
advantage
do?
when it comes to that part of the game? As it turns out, yeah. Research shows that a higher IQ tends to come bundled with better theory of mind. Basically, theory of mind is your ability to understand what other people are thinking. You're able to predict or intuit the thoughts and reactions of other people, which
Okay.
in turn
That
lets
guy's
you
brain is
model
mad.
your behavior based on how they're
tell
going to
he's,
respond.
special.
It's basically in a strategy
Jason
game when
Voorhees.
you're thinking 3 moves ahead, or those moments when you say, "Ha! I knew you would do that. That's why I laid my trap there." It's pretty critical to any game
was
that
thinking more
involves
like
trying to
Joseph,
outsmart another
I knew you would say
player.
that.
It's sort of putting yourself in the other player's shoes. A sort of, if I do X, then knowing what I know about that person, I can predict that they would most likely respond by doing Y. In a game of Among Us, this could be as simple as realizing that Pokimane was suspicious of Toast the entire game, which means that if I kill and report a body in a place near where Toast is hanging out, Pokimane will most likely try to vote Toast into the lava.
Yep.
And in turn, Pokey could apply Theory of Mind in response to that, realizing, wait a minute, if the imposter knows that I've been suspicious of Toast the entire game, they might try to frame him in the
Yeah,
next
about to
kill.
say.
So I should probably probably be a bit skeptical of anyone who reports a body near Toast. That kind of game of cat and mouse is all about understanding how other people think and using that to predict their behavior.
I was making all these
AKA
games
theory
so
of mind.
intelligent,
So
I
what
can't
does
keep
this all
up.
tell us? Well, it seems that the high IQ players might truly be the elite among us in Among Us. Except there's one other group that may be able to beat them. The
Who?
only thing stronger than being smart is being a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Seriously, let me introduce you to the strange science of truth wizards. Yes, this is a real scientific thing, and yes, the academic name is Truth
Wizards.
Wizard.
That's kinda
On a
crazy.
previous episode of Game Theory all about the strategy of Among Us, I mentioned that people on average are really bad at detecting lies. In a test where people were asked to judge a series of statements as truth or lies, they guessed correctly 54% of the time. Barely
Yeah.
better than the 50% you'd expect from random chance. So humans are bad at detecting lies
course.
in general. Further research on the subject found that a few people are absolute wizards when it comes to spotting lies. Quote from the study, "Wizards of deception detection are rare individuals who achieve scores of 80% or higher. Most people's accuracy on these tests is about 50%, as would be expected by
course.
chance alone. Of more than 15,000 people tested, only 47 have been classified. Basically, these people are natural-born lie detectors.
natural Among Us
Now, being
players.
a wizard comes with a few caveats. These rare individuals have a harder time evaluating strangers. They also tend to work better if they're able to use facial expressions, because a lot of their
Well, okay,
abilities come
Among
with
Us kinda got out of the
recognizing
question. It's hard to
micro-level
face.
changes to vocal and physical cues. The better grasp these wizards have on a person's normal speech patterns, the
pitch has
easier it
increased
is
by a
for
little
them
bit.
to
Are you
tell
lying?
when that person's speech is different from normal. It might come in real handy if you find yourself sitting across the table from a possible liar, but in a typical game of Among Us, you're not gonna have any chance to
Yeah.
read a person's facial expressions. At best, you
Pretty
have
much.
yourself the voice chat. So, am I saying that you either have to be super smart or a literal wizard to be good at Among Us? Of course not. For instance, if you want to do better at an IQ test, one of the most effective ways is to simply try harder. Yep, in a study done on IQ scores, it found that when people were offered incentives, like receiving money as a reward for higher scores,
Yeah.
it resulted in an average score increase of as much as 10 points. Better than when they heavily studied like we talked about earlier. Which means that the single best way to get good in an IQ
Money.
test is by, playing with Mr. Beast.
Winners get $10,000 if they beat me in a game of rock, paper, scissors.
But in all seriousness, the
I mean,
biggest
Mr.
and
Beast,
most
you can help you with
important
love IQ.
factor is practice. You could take the biggest
5,000
brained
IQ might be possible,
genius in
Mr.
the world
Beast.
and put them in front of a computer, and they're probably not going to do too hot at their first game of Among Us,
Yeah.
especially compared to someone who's had, like, even a dozen games under their belt. Consider a
Hmm.
game like chess, which seems like the ultimate thinking man's game. You'd think that high IQ players would have an advantage in chess,
Nah.
and you'd be right, but only to a certain point. As
Oh.
it turns out, raw
That's-
intelligence is
that
no
was
match
wrong,
for
clearly.
experience. Research found that practice accounted for 34% of the variance in skill levels between chess players, while difference in intelligence only accounted for 5%. Much
Wow.
like being
So-
born
so
naturally tall
practicing the
doesn't
game
automatically
is-
make you a good basketball player, being born with naturally high intelligence
doesn't.
doesn't automatically make you good at games like chess or Among Us. You may start with an advantage with a higher IQ, but how you choose to apply it makes all the difference in the world. As it turns out, raw intelligence
door
is no
first
match
and
for
then
experience, and
I'll become the
all
guy.
of this is what I plan on putting to the test on December 1st.
What?
All of the 5,000 IQ Among Us memes got me thinking that it would be fun to get a bunch of the smartest people I know, both in life and in gaming together, to see how well they do against each other in Among Us. That's right, my friends. Today's theory isn't just a theory anymore.
about to be proven.
It's about to become a live experiment. On December 1st, as part of my $1 million challenge for St. Jude, I'm
Yeah.
hosting the highest IQ game of Among Us ever to see
Okay.
what big brains reign supreme. It's gonna be an all-day
It's gonna be
live
so
stream where we
sick.
put your favorite creators to the test, all while giving away tens of thousands of dollars in
Goddamn.
one-of-a-kind prizes to you at home watching. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because
already
this
have.
is an
But
event
my-
that you are
my
not gonna
internet
want
bugs
to
out
miss.
on that
And
day.
all
I'm
of it
so
is
angry.
to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, a hospital that's on the front lines of cancer research, all while saving the lives of our most precious patients' children. And let's face it,
Sheesh.
supporting an amazing cause while having a
goats,
great
look at
time
them.
watching some of your favorite creators online
Mom's saying my
backstab
ass,
each
man.
other, that is the brainiest
Saving lives,
move
bro.
of them all. The second brainiest move, though, is saving money this holiday season. And for that, you don't need the help of a truth
Honey.
wizard. All you need is our sponsor for today's episode, Honey.
Nope. Alright, you guys end the video. See, you don't need IQ, you just need practice. And IQ. And good friends so you can test out your theories and all your. I mean, you need a lot of things to be a good in Among Us. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but at least IQ isn't like the biggest factor. It's a slight factor, but not the biggest. But if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.